Praise the Lord, my beautiful blessed souls. Back with another word. We are in Numbers chapter 27. Let's get into it. Okay. So then drew near to the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, from the clans of Manasseh, the son of Joseph. The names of his daughters were Mela, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tisra, and the names of his daughter. No, and they stood before Moses, and before Eleazar the priest, and before the chiefs and all the congregation at the entrance of tent of meeting, saying, Our father died in the wilderness. He was not among the company of those who gathered themselves together against the Lord in the company of Korah, but died for his own sins. And he had no sons. Why should the name of our father be taken away from his clan because he had no son? So give to us a possession among our father's brothers. Now this was the daughters of Zelophehad. Okay, so now this is going to get interesting because this is where the inheritances and I believe a lot of what the biblical laws are, they mimic them, but they mimic them and they do what they want to do here. So you know how that go. Because what they do is they tweak them to benefit themselves, I would say. And so because they do that, this is why things are so unjust, because because when they're always out for money and greed, this is what they're doing. So they're tweaking it to always be in favor of themselves. So we're going to get into it. But Moses brought their case before the Lord, the daughters. And the Lord said to Moses, the daughters of Zelophehad are right. You shall give them possession of an inheritance among their father's brothers and transfer the inheritance of their father to them. So when people die, you see, they talk about the will and the estate and the trust and all of that. And I believe these laws they're mimicking, but they're doing what they want to do, like I said, because it's always in favor of them, the ones who have the information, have the power to do what they want. And then they do these illegal, stuff that they shouldn't be doing to be slick. And this is why but that's nothing but the devil in it. I'm telling you, that's always the trick of the devil. He's always switching things, compromising things, changing things, distorting things, contaminating things to make them where he wants. That's why every time you see something, God says it and everybody tweaks it for their own personal. That's what that's about. And I think that's the spirit of error and antichrist. And you shall speak to the people of Israel, saying, if a man dies and has no son, then you shall transfer his inheritance to his daughter. And if he has no daughter, then you shall give his inheritance to his brothers. And if he has no brothers, then you shall give his inheritance to his father's brothers. And if he has no brothers, then you shall give his inheritance to the nearest kinsman of his clan, and he shall possess it, and it shall be for the people of Israel a statute and rule as the Lord commanded Moses. So now you see how the laws in the world are set up. But every kingdom and system here is, Satan, Lucifer, the devil, because they be doing what they want to do. So the devil is always in the details. That's why when you look at the laws of marriage, of inheritances, of all of these things, it's always set up mimicking this, but it always has something in there to then they get the money or they don't look for the people and all that type of stuff. It's always a clause because they're trying to be slick. Why? Because they want to get over and keep it for themselves. So this is what this is about. When I look at this, I'll be like, these people, not even the people, the spirits that they operate out of, because this is all set up. These systems and kingdoms of Satan, Lucifer, the devil are here to steal, kill, and destroy. They're lying, seeking whom they can devour. So please understand, when they say that, they talk about destroy you mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, and spiritually. This is what they're looking at. And when you look at the world, the food, everything, this is what they're doing. So it makes a lot of sense. So the Lord said to Moses, go up into the mountain of Abraham, and see the land that I have given to the people of Israel. When you have seen it, you also shall be gathered to your people as your brother Aaron was. And I need to look into that because I was saying to myself, I know that. And I think it means what I think it means. I think this is the one. Because you rebelled against my word in the wilderness of Zin, when the congregation quarreled, failing to uphold me as holy at the waters before their eyes. These are the waters of Meribah, of Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. And Moses spoke to the Lord, saying, let the Lord, the God of the spirits and of all flesh, appoint a man over the congregation who shall go out before them and come in before them, who shall lead them out and bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord may not be as sheep, that they have no shepherd, as someone to guide them, to help them. And they need that. We need that. So the Lord said to Moses, take Joshua the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, and then lay your hand on him, and make him stand before Eleazar the priest and all the congregation. And you shall commission him in their sight. You shall invest him with some of your authority, that the congregation of the people of Israel may obey. And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall inquire for him by the judgment of the Urim before the Lord. That's the sacred. And his word they shall go out, and at his word they shall come in, and both he and all the people of Israel with him, the whole congregation. And Moses did as the Lord commanded him, and he took Joshua and made him stand before Eleazar the priest and the whole congregation, and he had laid his hands on him and commissioned him as the Lord had directed through Moses. So now we're going to get into this, because I think Moses' time is about to be coming up soon, where he's going to be leaving us, and I hate this part, but you know, everyone, there's a season for everything. So in this case, it says, here it is, the case of Zelophehad's daughters determined. Notice given to Moses of his death approaching. Yes, it is. Provision made of a successor in the government by the prayer of Moses and by the appointment of God. So this is where, Moses is about to leave us. And I love my Moses, but yes, he has been through some things, and now we are going to get into what this is all about, because this is a deep layer of generational one identity, because knowing whose you are, meaning who is your parents, who is their lineage. This is why they go by it, and they go by it by the father's name, because it is the father's name and the father's birthright blood, because he is the head, he is the priest, and that's why it goes by that. So when we look at these things, and I was talking about before, they're supposed to all come from the same womb, same mother, same father, same chromosome, same everything, same spirit. They two became one in marriage, and then they have the children, they covenant, they commensurate by the sex act, and this is what this is about. So God sees them as a whole, as a family, as a lineage. Why? Because you got them one mother, one father together. They are married, then they begat their children, and their children, and they did the same thing, and this is their lineage. And they talk about the father and the father's last name, and this is how you know who's who, through the identity. Just like us, Christ says his people belong to him. So we're not of the world. We're not of the devil. We're of Christ. Why? Because our lineage is in him. And we all come from the Father. But actually, no, because he said some of them are from the synagogue of Satan, which is us. He says Satan has children here. So I believe he do them lizard, leopard, they gonna dag on whatever it is, them half-breeds, whatever. The people that worship him and do all that mess. The bloodline and the blood. That's why they be looking into the lineage, tampering with the bloodlines. They be doing all that stuff. Why? Because they already know. And they looking into the chosen ones. They want to kill them off. And they want to, look into the bloodlines to see who's who and what's what. Because they always got something going on. That's why in the time of Christ, they was looking for him so they could kill him. In the time of Moses, they was trying to they still doing the same thing. That's why DNA and all this, they only DNA folks they want to, because them Israel people that's over there, they don't want to do DNA. Because if they do, they're going to show that that's not the real Jewish people. It's illegal. They talk about how they can't do DNA over there. Why? Because it's going to show that they are of synagogue Satan, that they are not. And that's why, oh Lord. Anyway, okay. So now, this is a deep layered situation. Identity focus breakdown for us. Your identity means so much. You either know you're a child of God, you got to know it. Your identity means everything, because it lets you know who you are, whose you are, what you have rights to, where your kingdoms, your territories, your inheritances, what rights you have, all of this. This is what this is about. what inheritance is, who, all of that. Why? Because the kingdom of God he made everything. So as children of his, the territory, the land, we're heirs to all of it. This is what this is talking about. It's showing us. So Numbers 27 is one of the most beautiful, surprising, and identifying shifting chapters in the entire book. After the collapse of Numbers 25 and a generational reset in Numbers 26, Numbers 27 introduces two massive turning points. One, the daughters of Zelophehad, a generational justice breakthrough. Women were not allowed to have anything, but this is where they were. So when people talk about, women and this, God recognizes women. He respects women. He loves women. He doesn't want us to mistreat and beat down women. No, he does not. That is not in there. I wish people would stop that foolishness. You to be the head, not the Lord. You are the priest, but you're not her God. And at the end of the day, there's only one God, and you answer to him for how you treat her. So please understand that. A commissioning of Joshua, leadership and identity transfer. So this is what is happening. This chapter is about inheritance, authority, identity, and generational repair. Let's walk through it in the land structure. So the daughters of Zelophehad, generational justice. 5 sisters step forward. Mala, Noah, Hogla, Milcah, and Tisra. Step forward to say their father died in the wilderness with no sons. So they would have nothing to take care of them. See? Their daughters, they're not married. There's a father, he's died. Guess what? The women didn't have anything. And until they got married, that's the only way. So now the inheritance where's the inheritance? They would need something to what? To take care of them. That's what they talk about. Men don't want to provide and protect. They want to be chased. No, God never intended that. That is a woman's role. That is not a man's role. And this is why we have so much Baphomet and homosexuality. Why? Because these men want to be treated like women. They do not want responsibility. Grow up, act like a man because you are one, and stop acting with the mind of a woman. Please, I need for you to do that. So anyway, their father Zelophehad died in the wilderness with no sons. Under the existence inheritance system, the family line would lose its land, meaning everything. They had to have something, substance, to be food, clothing, and shelter. This is why when they talk about all of this foolishness, when it comes to the men, I'm just so sick of it. Because the women and the children are supposed to be provided for, not these men running around want to be women and want somebody to take care of them like a female. That is a curse. That is not a blessing. No, it is not. It is not biblical. It is not at all. And there's so many reasons for that. Why would you want to be treated like a woman as a man? Unless you either, one, like men, you hate women, something is seriously, and they talk about mental. I really believe that's a mental thing, but it's not a mental thing. It's a demon thing. It's a Satan thing. And it's sad because we see it all of the time. And it's a lot in our community because they emasculated it. They did a lot of stuff, and I get it. But you can't stay there. You can't keep your thought patterns there. You are built stronger. You have to have responsibility. You have to have, this is what you were called. This is your call, your right. Why? You were born for that. As a male, you were born to carry the weight of the household, to be the priest, to walk with God, to commune with God, and how to run your household. This is what this is about. How to make decisions, which way to go, what to do when it comes to your family. But these folks, they just so everywhere. Just, oh my goodness, it's ridiculous. And listening to the world and all these other people, you can have more than one wife, you could do this, you could do that, and it's all about all these other religions and all this other everything, and it doesn't make any sense. When you look all over the world and you see and you look into really what they be having going, I don't care if it's the Muslim, Buddhist, they all have the same things going on. A lot of homosexuality. And they degrade women for the same reasons. Homosexuality is you having that spirit of wanting to be with a man, liking men more than you like a woman. There's something wrong with that. Horribly wrong with that. You want to beat women, mistreat women, have all of this evil wickedness towards women, the so-called lesser vessel. Why? What inside of you makes you? God does not treat his brides that way, his women that way, his daughters that way, and you wouldn't want nobody. And if you hate women so bad, that means something is seriously wrong with you. Just doesn't make any sense. You want the woman to handle all the burden, but you want to be the head. You want her to do all the work, but you want the title. You want her to submit. You want to tell her what to do. That's crazy. That's backwards. Because if you want all of that, then do it. And don't have it on her and then degrade her. Talking about no. You don't want to be the man. You want her to be the man. Because you don't want to do it. But then you talk junk to her. She needs to shut up. And how she gonna shut up with no baby when she the one got to make all of the daggone decisions? Come on now. That's crazy. And when she's not getting any rest, and she's not this, and she's not that, she's manly, she's masculine. Why? Because you're the feminine one. You can't be the masculine one. Somebody has to do something here. Because sitting around waiting on you is not going to get it done because you want to wait on her to do everything and reap all the benefits and then tell her what to do and be demanding and want to fight and argue and fuss and, oh, she's really? Oh, she don't submit. What you mean submit? Submit to what? She's doing everything. You're the one who needs to submit if you're not going to handle anything. That's crazy. You want to be pampered, but you want her to submit. You want her to do all the man's work while you be the woman over here, but you want her to bow down, and that's not going to work. That sounds crazy. That just sounds so out of alignment. But okay, I'm going to let y'all have that, and y'all go ahead and do what y'all want to do with that. If a woman can stand up and raise the kids and deal with all of that, you should be able to too. And it shouldn't be no excuses as to what's going on. You shouldn't sit there, oh, she did, she didn't. No. At the end of the day, if she got to get up and do what she got to do and handle the business with taking care of them kids the best way she can. Don't say, hey, these men be out here talking about, oh, they need help, they need this. It's just you. What do you mean? If she got 4 kids, whatever she got to do, the welfare, whatever, she's handling it. Someone needs you to do the same. You need to figure that thing out. Stop making excuses. Accountability. Got to do what you got to do as a man, baby. And we walk around like a woman making excuses. Okay, they approach Moses. They stand before the leaders. Hold on, okay. They approach Moses. They stand before the leaders. They speak clearly. They challenge the system. They ask for inheritance. So this is what the daughters do. All right? And they had this is generational courage. They had to do something because what were they going to do? Be without anything. So their argument, why should our father's name disappear from his clan? Because he had no sons. And they are not asking for privilege. They're asking for justice, continuity, and identity preservation, which is fair and just. So God granted it to them. God's response, the daughters of Zelophehad are right. Even as parents, we can be wrong. I will say that. We can. And I have no problem with being wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll say that I'm wrong. I'll accept that. And this stunning thing, God rewrites inheritance law because of them. So if they didn't say anything, women wouldn't have had nothing. And it's a good thing that they stepped up and they did, because then that let us see how God is in regards to women. Because they will preach and teach all of these things negatively about women. And God loves and respects his women. He does. And he wants them to be taken care of. They're the givers of life. He wants them. He trusted them with that. So what this moment represents: generational repair, identity restoration, women stepping into covenant inheritance. Exactly. A lineage being preserved, a pattern being broken, a new legal precedent for all future generations. These women are the Phineas of their lineage, cycle breakers, restorers, and identity protectors. Why? Because they had to step up and do something. The men were not there. There was no men. There was no brothers. So they had to do something. And all of the other ones that was around them, this is what I was thinking about. Why nobody else said anything? The other men. Why didn't they say, well, what's going to happen to them? Why didn't they make sure that there would have been provision for them on their own? This is where I was saying to myself, they were just going to sit there and let them. Because if they're not married, they don't have a father. Remember, they couldn't leave until they were married. And if their father was dead and whatever, the mother didn't have really that much rights. So then now they were just all going to be them, their mother, and whoever. They were just going to be with nothing. This is, thank God they did. God set the precedence, and he let us see where his heart is, where his respect is, his love is, his heart is towards women. So I don't want to hear nothing about these men talking about how God feels when it comes to treating women. You're not supposed to mistreat women. And when you do, you will answer to him for that because he takes that very seriously. You're not supposed to be lowered and abusive and all of that towards a woman. That is not what being the head and priest in your household is about. I'm sorry, that is not. And a lot of people, a lot of men especially, tend to think that that's what that means. In order to lead, you must serve first. Women are supposed to be pampered, protected, and treated as a dainty flower, not as some ragamuffin you just rolling around on some concrete. Please understand that. So, no sons, and when you walk around here sleeping with the guy's women and his daughters, and you procreating and doing all this, God has, listen, you think you are heaping curses amongst yourself, every STD you get, everything you got going on, baby, from child support and everything. Please understand that's your own reaping, sweetie. Don't be sitting around here, oh, woe is me. No. Cheating on wives, beating them, all this. Listen, having all these kids, ain't marrying nobody, just running around, being community, you know what, walking mattresses and all. Nah, you don't get no blessings behind that, pay. In the street, doing this, doing that, instead of being at home with the kids, you out running around, shooting up, doing this, getting high, chilling, chasing broad. No, ain't no life in that. Ain't no lineage. Ain't no family. Ain't no none of that in that. None of that. Please, I'm telling you. So if a man dies with no sons, inheritance goes to daughters. No daughters, inheritance goes to brothers. Wow. No brothers, inheritance goes to paternal uncles. No uncles, inheritance goes to nearest clan relative. So this is the first legal codification of women's inheritance rights in scripture, and it is a generational correction. Yes, Moses is told he will not enter the land. This is what hurt my feelings. After the daughter's case, God speaks to Moses and he lets him know he will see the land, but he will not enter it. Now, could you imagine Moses being told after all he went through? I feel for Moses. Oh, Jesus, I feel for Moses. I felt so bad for Moses right here. He would not see the promised land. He would not enter it. Because of the incident at Meribah, this is not punishment, it is transition. Moses' season is coming to an end. A new leader must rise, and this is the leadership layer of the chapter. I'm like, man, they done got rid of my boy Moses. I'm like, dang, Moses went through some. And it's like doing all of this and not entering in. And he took it because he was supposed to speak to the rock and not hit it. And he hit the rock instead of speaking it. And I believe, like I said, he had an anger. I don't even think it was, because it was. And he was working on it. He had an anger problem. He was working on it. But the thing with that was, them folks just kept at Moses. They kept rebelling, his own people. I mean, these same... Yo, it's like, but God wants us. He still, and I get it, cause it takes time for that anger and there's certain things where you know what I'm saying. It just, but you gotta. I said, Lord, say it's transition, so I'm gonna let it go. It's not punishment, it's transition. But Moses' heart revealed. Moses does not argue. He probably was tired of them, and he does not complain. He does not defend himself. Instead, he says, let the Lord appoint a man over this community, because he know this ain't going to be no easy task. So the people would not be like sheep without a shepherd. He felt bad for them because he still knew that they weren't going to be able to do this on their own, because these folks was hard-headed, stiff-necked people. So he already knew this. So this was Moses' heart to them, even though they did him so dirty like this. Selfless, protective, fatherly, covenant anchored. And this is why he was chosen. Even in this ending, he is thinking about the people and what's going to happen to them after he's gone. Isn't that just like, and see, God picks the right people for the right situations, because nobody could have put up with this the way he did. If it was somebody else, they better be glad it was Moses. Because if it was somebody else, they probably would have been like, listen, I am not being bothered with this fool. Look at what all he went through. Like, seriously. So Joshua's commission. God chooses a man with the spirit, faithful, courageous, aligned, trained under Moses. Joshua represents the next generation, the new identity, the transition from wilderness to promise. So this is after they go through all the testing, all the trials, all the pruning, all of this, and the embodiment of courage over fear. So that's the wilderness reminds me of the winter season in your life where ain't nothing growing, ain't nothing this. They had to deal with manna from heaven. They had to deal with all this stuff. They was just like, listen, so I get it. So now what we're looking at, the architecture of it. So this is emotional and spiritual. So the daughters had courage, clarity, identity, and restoration. Daughters of Zephalah, justice and courage, their lineage was restored. God's ruling, new inheritance laws, systemic generational repair. There was an issue, he fixed it. This is what fathers do. Moses' transition, leadership shift, identity recalibration. Joshua commissioning, the new authority in the future is secured. Why? Because you're going to need someone to take over. And this is what leadership is about. Building up folks under you that's going to be able to take over and move forward. Because remember, it's not about having a whole bunch of members in the church. It's about discipleship. It's about folks getting out there to actually do some stuff. Going and sitting in the churches is not what we're supposed to be doing. But anyway, we're supposed to gather, but listen. So emotional and spiritual architecture, the daughters, the courage, the clarity, the identity, the restoration. So that was taken care of. Moses was humility, father-hearted. He had a heart of a father, meaning that he wanted no matter what. He wanted to make sure that they were able to get into the promised land and be okay. You see what I'm saying? And that's what fathers do. That's what men do. It is not about you. That's what mothers do. It's about the children. It's about what's going to happen to them because eventually you're not going to be here. So you want to make sure they're going to be okay. You want to build them up to where they can handle life on their own. You want them to go through trials and tribulations. That's the whole point of having parents, to train you in their household. So when you leave, you're able to be self-sufficient. But in the training, you're going to go through things in the household that is going to be testing. Why? Because when you get into the world, if you can go through the testing in the household, of course you can go through the testing in the world, because the world is going to treat you way worse than what was going on in that household. Please understand it is. So anyway, Joshua is readiness, alignment, not mean, but this is what, his whole blueprint was. Readiness, alignment, spirit-filled leadership, and destiny. God was basically justice, faithfulness, continuity, and covenant protection. So now we're going to get into the mirroring. So the daughters show how to challenge generational injustice, how to speak truth to power, meaning how to get things done. They had to be bold. They had to be courageous in order to even ask it. How to reclaim lost inheritance, how to break systemic patterns. So they had to be bold with this thing. So when they talk about women shutting up, no. Because as you could see, if they didn't speak up, this would have been just nothing. Moses shows how to transition with grace, how to release control, yes, how to think generationally, because it's not about him. Why? Because he knows from the beginning, eventually, it's not going to be him that's going to have to move forward. Why? He's going to be whoever is after him, his children, his children's children. This is what this is about, making sure that it's not about the battles, but the war. The war needs to be won. We all need to be mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, and spiritually having our well-being intact. We still need to be growing together, loving each other, having a relationship with God, communing with each other and with God, and living in peace. This is what this is about. So Joshua shows how to step into the new identity, how to carry a lineage forward, meaning after such a great person, him being grateful, because guess what? The blueprint was Moses. So now whatever went on with Moses, he got to see firsthand the ups and the downs of what Moses had going on as the leader. So now he knows when he steps in, he already has an idea of what this can entail. And this is what the next generation needs to be all about. Instead of being ungrateful, being thankful for all the lessons that they have learned in their mother's or parents' household. Why? Because this is going to prepare you for your own situation. And so the gratitude is so necessary instead of the ingratitude and the ungratefulness. So God shows he listens, he corrects systems, he honors courage, right, and he protects inheritance. And that's what a father does. So in the chapter, the inheritance is restoration and leadership transition, exactly the things we be looking for in generational journeys. Why? Because we want to see how these things intertwine in our own lives. What is God telling us? What is he showing us through scripture? How we're supposed to be with each other? Moses wasn't angry about giving up letting the next person come in and take over and be the chief. He wasn't. Why? Because his time was up. He knew that. It wasn't about him holding on, having control, still wanting. No, that was not what it was about. It was about, okay, my time is up. Cool. I'm not going to be angry about it. I'm not going to be bitter. I'm not going to wish bad. No, I want this person to step into this role, into this position. I want them well equipped, whoever was going to be picked. I want them to understand and know and be ready for the challenge, because it's going to be a challenge. Being ahead, being in charge means weight. It means you have to carry a lot of weight. It means responsibilities. It means delegation at times. It's going to be serving. It's going to be different things at different times. You're going to wear these different hats and have to run and rule. So, and I tell people, you can run households, you can run businesses. Folks can go out there and sell drugs. They can run a business. Why? Because it's the same situations. You take those same transferable skills and you use them and you apply them. This is what this is about. So now when we're looking at all of this, it makes a lot of sense. Now, how we do things and the way we do them, our choices, instead of being on the street selling drugs, instead of choosing to do it that way, you got all these skills, do it the other way. Go get you a business. Go to school for business. You know what I'm saying? Do that in that way. But see, the problem is, you see what I'm saying? This is the problem. Folks like shortcuts. They don't want to do the process of learning, because that's the purging, the pruning, that's the wilderness. That's the part they don't like to learn to become the leader that they need to be capable in these different areas. And see, this is what they don't like. And so because they don't like it, this is what becomes the issue. So they want to shortcut it and just go straight to the street or whatever and go get a record deal or go get this. And then they rather do something simple, but in the long run, it's going to cost you. Because you might get the quick money now, the quick this, but then you got all this other stuff going on. You got the law on you. You got folks in the street, after you. You know what I'm saying? So maybe if you had did it the other way, it would have been so much better for you. And this is some stuff and this is where the breakdown of, okay, well, we get angry with God about our lives. We do when things don't go right, because you already knew doing this was not, but you want God to bless it. I'm gonna go make some money and flip this, and then please just don't let me get caught up or end up dead or go to jail. But how? You already knew that was not the way to do things. So you went and did it anyway. You want God to bless it, but then when something goes wrong, then it's God's fault. Everybody else. No, that is the way in the route you chose. So now you have to take accountability and responsibility. The police did this one, did that one. They didn't just pick you up for nothing. No, you was doing something. Now, if you were just going to work or something like that, I can understand that. But if you out there doing that, come on now, you already know what this is. Let's stop playing. Or if you're out there and folks is back and forth shooting, or if let's say you're just out there and you're, you're cheating or you're whatever, something's going to become of that, because you already knew that was not something that you should have been doing. And that's whether it was in the spiritual or the natural, you knew that wasn't something. So when we look at certain things, we have to take accountability and say, well, yeah, because I should have done it a different way, because we'll get into a relationship and want God to bless it, but we're fornicating. We want them to get married, but then we're fornicating. You see what I'm saying? But then we'll get mad with God if it don't happen the way we want. Oh, well, then the person gets married to us. If they leave us to go be with somebody else, we done had a baby, we done been together all the time. We get mad with God, but then God never told you to shack up with nobody. He told you to get married first. So before you had them kids, before you did all that, he told you to get married. to keep yourself and not have sex and be pure and then wait on your husband. But no. So you chose it your way, and then when it didn't go the way you wanted it, you got what you wanted for the short term. But the long term, no, you messed that up. This is what we be doing. We follow the paths of the world and we think God's supposed to bless it. And then when he doesn't, when he lets us reap from our own doings, we get mad. Because we reap what we sow. I mean, that's just like, okay, somebody cheat with somebody's husband and thinking that once he cheated, he gonna come and marry you. Those who cheat on you would cheat or cheat with you would cheat on you. What did you think was going? If he would cheat on a wife, what makes you think he gonna cheat on you as a girlfriend? Oh, so he's just gonna come marry you, huh? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. We when we look at things and we're not looking at it from that fantasy, and we look at it from the reality of it, it makes more sense. We accepted that because that's what we wanted at that time. We didn't want to wait for God to bring us the one we should have been with or the one that would have treated us better or whatever. No, we were so thirsty. We were so ready for, whatever we was getting ourselves. Just same thing. Business deal. Okay, you might have been wanting to get into something and you're thinking about, oh, don't get it twisted because I have done it. Honey, I did Mary Cat, I did a couple of things. And you get into it and you thinking because somebody tell you, and just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you, see? Or if it's a move or whatever, I didn't move places and think it's going to be better. They got there and I'm still dealing with the same. See, because you take your stuff with you wherever you go. So it's like, okay, now you start to see that, you know what I'm saying? Everything ain't for everybody. So you decided you was going to go into this because somebody else was doing it. They was doing it well. Oh, come in, But then at the end of it, you see that there's more to it than what you thought because they left out a lot. They didn't tell you what, you know what I'm saying? They didn't tell you what you should have knew because if they did, they wouldn't have made that money off you. That initial fee to get in and to do whatever. See, this is how they go. Then after that, you thinking you about to be the millionaire and you're not because you still got so much more to do and so much more to pay into and so much more to do, but they didn't tell you that part. See, they took them however long to get to where they at and they been doing this a long time. And see, like I tell people all the time, whatever you don't know is something you need to know up front because whatever they hiding, baby, that's what you need to know in the beginning. Don't wait. Don't tell me mine down the line later. Tell me that now. So that I can make the better decisions that I need to make because I can't make decisions, good ones, off half information. I'm making whatever I'm making off of what I've been told, the information that I have. So now, but see, that's what the enemy does. He's never going to tell you the full story. He's going to tell you half of the story. The part that makes him look good and makes you want to get in there. Right. So he can because he's going to contain, he's going to give you a little truth and he'll keep the rest and he'll throw a little lie in there to make it sound good. And then that's going to be what you're going to get. And then you got to decide if that's what you want, what you're going to do. But it's still your choice. You see what I'm saying? It's still your choice. So it's like, you be sitting there mad, but you can't really be mad because it's your decision. Just because they said whatever, you didn't have to go with it. But see, even God, he looks at the unjust stuff like that too, because he's like, see, they do things because the devil loves to do things specifically to have you entangled, meaning webs and networks. Yeah, entanglements. Where you're trapped in like slaves. And when you look at all of the systems of the kingdom and systems of the world, which are Satan apart, they all are intertwined, they're webs. They all have these little lines that chain and shackle and bondage you into slavery. Mortgages. You see what I'm saying? Everything, debt, this, that. You see what I'm saying? Job, whatever it is, career, school. It's always, we gonna get what we need from you now. And this is the way this works in relationships. We gonna get ours from you now because we don't wait. But you gonna wait for what you want later down the line. And you better hope you get it because you be sitting there. See, the one thing about this world, see, it's the pursuit of happiness that they give you. That's the so-called American dream. They lie, they feed that to you. But see, the thing with that is you can pursue it, don't mean you gonna get it. That's that dream talk right there. That $1 and the dream meal ticket. Right. Come here. Do this. See all these foreigners come here. Oh, America is so great. Until they get here. The land flowing with milk and honey. And then they get here and realize America wasn't what they thought it was. Bunch of hyped up. Yep. fake fraudulent stuff that come in is so different from what they thought it was. And then the sad part, it be a lot of their own folks already here. And why don't you just tell these people the truth instead of letting them come over here? And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this lineage stuff and all of this. They'll let you come over and go through the same web and the same mess they go through. Why? Instead of telling you the truth. Nah, I don't think you need to come over here, bro. Why? Because it ain't what you thinking. But see, people like the lie. The lie sound good. Oh, you gonna make some good money. You gonna do this. You can move in. You gonna do that. You get these businesses. We gonna have all this money. But then the thing is, well, then if that's the case, why you ain't got it? And some of them do, but they ain't gonna tell you how they got it and what they went through to get it though. Because a lot of them do a lot of backdoor different stuff too now. See? They ain't gonna tell you that. They gonna wait if you to get over here. And so when you look at this, it makes so much sense. And I'll be like, Lord, it's a reason why you set all of this in place so that we wouldn't have this confusion, because that's where it comes from. It's confusion. Because the devil never wants you to have clarity. Because if you have clarity, you got a better chance of making decisions, sound good decisions. If you have all the information, you'll make sound good decisions. But honey, I actually ain't gonna say everybody, because everybody, they mind ain't right. But I'm just gonna say for the most of us. Most people anyway. So when we look at it, we got to be looking at, setting up your life and setting up your children's life. And when when this is your goal, when this has been always your plan, you know what I'm saying? When you have been striving, because I tell people all the time, up until things went rough with me, that was my goal, up until I was about 40 years old. And I was like, okay, I remember the other day they did an interview with, what's her name? Jill Scott. And she was talking about how, 20s was doing this, and your 30s, you're supposed to be doing that, and your 40s, right? And by 50 years old, you're supposed to be chill. And that's the way it's supposed, because earlier you grind, the better off you are in your later years. But see, if you spend your younger years playing and not getting a firm foundation, not getting it together, by the time you 30, 40, 50, you going to be stagnant still. You're going to be unstable. And see, you see this with the patterns that they're talking about, instability and still dealing with why? Because they ain't grown up and matured yet. They still got some stuff going on to where internally their mind, although they're growing, their mind, they're not growing. Physically they're getting older, but their mind is remaining children. You still trying to be like you was in your 20s. When you in your 40s and 50s, nah, this is the time. I mean, don't get me wrong. Nobody wants to grow old, exactly, but your mindset needs to be on some, okay, I need my life insurance, I need my this, I need to have certain things in order for myself, for my children, because at the end of the day, whether they grown or not, you need to have some type of structure. If anything happened to me, I don't want no, I don't want to leave my kids no bill, I want to leave them a will, they're going to have something. Why? Because this is what this is all about. And at the end of the day, you're supposed to leave, an inheritance up to the fourth generations. That's what it says in the Bible. If you are a good man, is what it says, you would leave that. Why? For your women and your children and your children's children. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Not running around sleeping with everybody, smoking weed, chilling, playing the game, all this stupid stuff. No, that's not leaving inheritances. That's smoking up the money. That's not making wise investments. That's not, breaking ground so we can plant seeds so they could grow later, so we can have some harvest and have some stability. Not just, we're not just talking financially. We're talking mentally. Are you there? Emotionally, are you there? Physically, are you there? Spiritually, are you there? Where are you? Adam, where are you, Adam? What are you doing? Where are you at? Because your family and your wife, your family, your children, they need you. Where are you? Are you out in the middle of the night when you should be home with your wife, but then when she says something, you talking junk? Why is that? What are you doing out there, Adam? Why? What is out there, Adam? Where are you? But you want to lead, but you want folks to submit, but you want... You want all these things, but what are you doing? Do you care about what is needed and what other folks need, what your wife and your kids need? Are you just being selfish, thinking about yourself? I mean, this is what this is about. Christ came to leave us an inheritance, a lineage here on earth and in heaven. He's providing and protecting what rightfully belongs to him. That's why all you see is provision, protection. He's there. God is there. Christ is there. They're making arrangements. They're changing things. Why? Laws, all of this stuff to make life better for their children, for their family, for their wives, for their daughters, for their sons, for their lineage, for the next generations to come. So what's going on here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Because if we're not doing that, we're not giving our children's blessings. We are passing down cursings because life is going to be harder for them. And what we went through, they're not supposed to go through, but they're going to probably go through, if we're not careful, more than what we went through. And that's sad, because that shows the regression and not the progression. And when you look at it, it's not just in the numbers, it's in the generational stuff, it's in the mental stuff, it's in the emotional stuff. Where are we and what are we doing? The physical, are we still sick? Are we still not eating right? Are we still right? We still got these same old sicknesses and diseases in the bloodline. Come on now. What's going on here? Mentally, we still ain't grown up. Physically, we still playing games. Financially, we ain't got it. Emotionally, we spent. Like, what are we doing here? Spiritually, half of the time is no spirituality in any of it. And if it is, it's some other stuff. So what are we doing here? Are we building a foundation on something? Are we building a life? Or are we tearing it down slowly but surely, brick by brick? Because what you don't put in, you don't get out. That's the whole point of reaping and sowing. If you don't put in love and this and affection and you want, then when you get old, who you think gonna love and affection be there for you? If you want it, you got to give it. You know, nobody wants to be in a nursing home or at home by themselves, sick and dying, and no one's there to help take care of them, especially a woman. And I would say this to any woman: if you done raised children and you done did it all for everybody, there's no way in the world that you should be at whatever age by yourself struggling, doing anything. Why? Because that is ridiculous. If you are, if you was really and truthfully your mother and you really bust your butt and you really raised your children and did what you need to do and they're not helping, something is wrong. Something is wrong there. And we're not going to sit here and say, oh, it's all the mothers. Because if they took care of you, you should be, as the child, why should you be running around here taking care? You can't do nothing for your own mother. That says a lot about you as a person. That's ridiculous. You can run up and down for friends and everybody else, a man and all, but you can't help your own mama. And folks will sit back and say, that's okay that they didn't help do this. And that is from the pit of hell. That's from the devil. That is not from God. That is evil. It is wicked. It is demonic. Not at all. It's not for you to have your parents out here by themselves, sick and dying, no one coming to help take care of them. Is you crazy? That is after all the hard work and effort they put in to help take care of you. It ain't about, oh, no, it's about gratitude, being grateful because they didn't have to. They could have, your mama could have walked away like your daddy did. What you saying? Or vice versa, and did nothing and had you out there just doing nothing, just trying to figure it out. And there's a lot of kids that are out there that are like that wish they had a mama or daddy that kid that was in foster care, but you're so ungrateful. Ungrateful. You're not even thankful for what they did do in your life. You're so busy trying to find the little thing, every little thing that they did not do, instead of the things that they did do, and then being happy and satisfied with what you did get, because you wasn't going to get it all anyway. Being ungrateful. Not appreciative of nothing. Ridiculous. And instead of help build, you help tearing down. That's all that's about. Because that doesn't help the family at all. Especially if the mother is the center of the household, meaning she's the center and everyone else relied on that source. So you mean to tell me everyone's going to take out of the source and no one's going to put back into the source? Why is that? And why is that an okay situation in our society, especially in our community? That is an okay situation. I don't get it. Now, I'm not saying, you're supposed to, but you can be there and help your mother just like your mother was there to help you. And even as adults, when you move out on your own and they still helped you, this is crazy. But we see a lot of this, because they didn't get everything they want situation, and it's an issue and a problem. That's not, that doesn't even resonate. It doesn't. There's a breakdown there somewhere. And that's called being selfish and thinking about yourself and not caring about your actual parents. Like, come on now. But then if they was to leave here, you would look for the inheritance, but you didn't want to help take care of them in life. Why is that? That's the evil, wicked selfishness in them. You don't want to help them build and grow nothing. You just want to come. That's just like everyone being in the household. Like every other race, they could be in the household. They could pay bills. They could do all this. Like I said before. But they help each other build and grow. Instead of moving out and everybody getting a whole bunch of debt and doing this and doing that. Instead of fighting over toilet tissue and every little thing, stay in the household, help each other get it together so everyone's not somewhere struggling on their own. But no, folks want to. Why? Because simple things become big things. They let small battles become big issues, and instead of letting that small battle go, the war is lost. Why? Because it's not about every small battle you're going to win. It's about winning the war. And the war is we're going to sit here and take care of each other and make this thing work. We're supposed to love each other, be there for each other, and look out for each other. We're family. We're not supposed to watch each other struggle. We're supposed to be there and help one another. But if there's always one doing and the rest is not, then that's the breakdown. Because you can't expect one to continue to do and no one's pouring into that person. Eventually that's going to stop. Why? Because that person's going to get drained. That well is going to run dry. Nobody's pouring back in. All the weight is on that one person. That's not the way it's supposed to. We're all supposed to work and build together. And as you can see, God even put people to help Moses carry the load. That's to let you know that the load is supposed to be folks in charge. There's supposed to be delegation where others is helping to carry the load. When Moses was getting ready to go, what did God do? Raise. He said he was going to take Moses. Okay, cool. Time to raise somebody else. He got the Levites over here, the priesthoods. He got this one over here doing that. He delegated. Wow. He got everybody somewhere to help what? Carry the load. No one was there just benefiting. Everyone had a job, something to do, an assignment, their purpose, something they had to do to contribute. It wasn't just, we're going to be here and take and get. No, that is a one-sided deal. Whenever God is doing stuff, there's altars, covenants, kind of vows. There's an exchange from one to the other. There's an exchange. When you go into the store to buy something, there's an exchange. You get your merchandise, you give them the money. That's the exchange. You give them money, you get what you want. This is what this is about. But folks don't believe in exchange no more. Because a fair exchange ain't no robbery in that. The robbery is in when you want to put in, when you want to take and get and benefit off of something you ain't put nothing in. You want to reap the benefits, but you don't want to help do nothing. That's the robbery. That's the robbery. And it's sad because that's how we end up getting depleted, because we cannot build on our own. We need to have the finances in the house. We need to have each other help and build and put in until we're able to branch off, save up, get other things going. Credits right, this right. That's what that's all about. Because when you look at families, and most of them, this is what they do. They live together, they build and grow together, whether it be, they get their credits right, they get everything they need, and then everyone is able to help each other get a house, get a car, get a business, get a this, and they're able to do that. But when you look at our community in particularly, that is not the case. There's always a matter of one person who is doing all the work and trying to do the best they can, and everyone else is just wanting a handout, a handout, a handout. Feeling entitled, like somebody owed them something. Give me, do this, do that, do that. And usually, a lot of times, it's the mother. Yeah. And they will wear her out and wear her out and wear her out, and high blood pressure, all of this, all of that. And then she leaves here and go, why? Because nobody thought to give back, pour in, do anything. It was all about them and the taking. That type of weight wasn't meant to be on one person. And this is why we see the high blood pressure. This is why we see, why? Because that is strain on your body, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially. And more than anything, it is spiritually draining. So when we look at this thing and we look at all of this and we look about women being taken care of and not being the ones to bear and hold all of the weight, this makes a lot of sense because it let us see all of this right here, right now. How the men are supposed, you didn't see them no, the priests are the men. Moses, Joshua, yeah, the women had their things to do, but they carried the weight. Women were never built to carry the weight. We weren't. So if you want to talk about all of this being in charge and want to talk about having, leadership and being a king and ruling and all of these things, first you have to talk about carrying your weight, the weight and the load of the family, because that is the first responsibility of the man. He's to carry the weight, the load. Now she comes in and she helps, but he's carrying it and she's assisting. That's how that goes. It was never, do you see, the woman is providing and protecting not one man in here, not one. You don't see it at all because that is not the design at all. The woman's body is smaller. Why? Because she's not supposed to carry the weight like that. She can help, but she's not supposed to carry the weight like that. The heavy boy he's supposed to do. She can come and assist on the other side and help balance it out. That's what that's about. But it is the man's job to provide and protect. And it is the men that they call to be on the front lines and to go to war and to go battle and to go take back territories. Why? Because you have to participate in your own deliverance. You have to participate in the own. If you want God to bless you, you have to manage whatever it is he's going to give you to bless you with. If you cannot manage what you already have, you will not be given any more, because to whom much is given, much is also required. So when you want all of these things and you want to do, you want to have the white woman here and the wife there and this one, it requires more. So what you're doing, adding more to your plate of what you couldn't even handle one woman, yet you want 2 and 3 and 4. Can your resources, can your bank, can your mental, emotional, physical, can you be in all of these places at the same? No. So why? Because you have no self-control. Your appetite for whatever it is, because half the time it's lust, and it's the lust of the eye, lust of the flesh, pride of life. This is what it is. Ego, pride. This is what this is all about. And so we're just breaking up the families, or starting families and leaving them, and leaving these little curses everywhere. And we're just walking off like it's nothing. And then when it finally blows up in our face, oh, it's God's. No, it is not. It's your fault. You didn't handle none of your business in none of these situations. You did not. You're mad with everybody else? No. Be angry with yourself. Have some accountability for your actions, for what you did, the part you played in the situation. Now for the women, us having our part to play, us not wanting to get married, us wanting to chase a man, lay up with a man, wanting a kingdom spouse. I keep talking about all this stuff and I keep hearing it, and I'm sitting here like, so you chase God and let Everything else come after. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Only things will be added unto you. Seeking a man, honey, you're not going to find it in no man. No. That man has to be submitted to God, first of all. And the way this place is, honey, please. But if you get yourself submitted to God and let God be your provider, let him be your everything, because that's what you need to be doing. To heal, deliver, and restore yourself, to deal with your own trauma, your own wounds. Why? Because we all come into the world with them. And even as a child, you were born into it. And then as you grow up, you still have it. And if you don't deal with it, you're going to bleed on everybody. That's your children, that's your spouses, that's everything in your life. You're going to see it because you're not going to realize it, but it's going to be happening. And this is why I said I had to get somewhere and sit down, because it's no way in the world that I could continue to live my life and operate out of the same madness I've been operating out of all of this time, because it's not a blessing for me or anyone else. It's not. And I said, Lord, I didn't even see it. I didn't even realize it. But I thank you for letting me see it and realize it now. And now I'm able to sit here and allow you to show me and help me, one, how to love myself. Because a lot of the situations I wouldn't have been in if I loved myself. When you don't love yourself, you've been rejected and all of that, that is in you and you accepted it, then you operate out of that. You accept less from everybody because you don't feel worthy. And whatever little bit they give you, you are like a child that anybody throws a crumb to, and you're just so happy to have it. And I tell people, when it comes to things in life, a bone is just a bone until two dogs get together and decide that the other one is not going to have it. It's not that it has much value. It's just the fact of, in the eyes of the person, it has value. Outside of that, it is not. It's still a bone. That's it. So when we sit here and we think about life and we think about what is going on and how we need to love ourselves first, allow God to love us so we can love ourselves, so he can teach us how to love. And then we can go and try to do other things, because there's a lot of healing and deliverance and restoration we need within our own lives, even after we didn't have kids, thinking we did everything. No, we did not. We did things the opposite. We bled on our kids. Let's just be honest. We did a lot of things. It was a lot of things done to us. And it was because they didn't know any better. And they operated out of whatever and made the wrong decisions. Then we took that up and we wanted to be different, and we thought we got, and then yes, and some of it still got on us, and we still was able to have some type of something with our own. And even when it comes to them, if they don't stop it and cut it, it will be the same. So this is what this is all about, because we will continue to bleed out until somebody stops. That's the hemorrhaging. Hemorrhaging out blood is a life, and when you look it up, it's the life force leaving, meaning the life force. That means everything involving the family line. It's slowly but surely, when you continue to have these curses, dying or killing you off slowly. That's what that's about. That's why God prunes certain things, because it's a disease. He has to take it out so it doesn't kill you. It's a sickness. They talk about the balm in Gilead. Why is there a balm? Because there's sickness and disease. Why? Because the sickness and disease is what? Sin. Trespass, transgress, iniquity. That's what it is. The sickness that kills us from the inside out. So the balm is, so he takes it out, cores it out, pulls it out, and then he replaces it, patches it up with the balm, the healing ointment. The oil, yes. And when you think about it, it makes so much sense. So I hope that this video was a blessing. It was a blessing to me, because when I was like, Lord, this is just like so much. It is just, a blessing. Really, really, it is a blessing. And God listens, and he will correct certain things. He's going to honor us. And he's here trying to make sure that everything is lined up the way he originally designed it to be. And anything outside of that is considered disobedience. It's considered a curse. It's considered, abominations, different ones. And because of that, this is why we need, and we wonder why things are the way they are. When they're not on his foundation, it's not going to stand. It's not going to last. Why? Because it's going to crumble. And it may not be right away, but eventually it will. We will see the breakdown eventually. And it's not to say that our lives are going to be perfect, even as believers, because they're not. But there's a difference. There's a big difference. Because God will allow you, when you're planted and rooted in Him, to weather the storm. That's what they talk about. Bending and not breaking. You'll go back and forth. You'll go back and forth, but you won't break, because He will sustain you in any season. Winter, cold, bitterness, nothing's growing. Spring, summer, fall. He will sustain you no matter what conditioning, no matter what storm, trial, tribulation, no matter what Pharaoh that's in your way, no matter what Goliath you need to slay. This is what this is about. So where is your family lineage? Where is your bloodline? What is going on from, your parents to you, to your own moving forward? Where is it? What's going on with it? Are your numbers dropping off? Because that says a lot. Your numbers dropping off? You see what everything meant. We have to pay attention. Pay attention to what is going on. And a lot of us, I'm going to tell you, because there's a lot of us that have these praying grandparents or whatever, and even the ones who went on in past, went on. And their prayers still avail because they still saints. And a lot of stuff could have been a whole lot worse for you, but it wasn't because of that same person. A lot of people don't realize that, but they need to pay that some mind, because a lot of the issues and situations you've gotten yourself into could have been a whole lot worse. And you don't even understand, because you ain't nowhere thinking about the Lord and nothing. You just out there doing what you're doing. But that everything that happened that could have taken you out of here, you're still here. And as long as you still got time, you need to pay attention to that time, and you need to get it right. Why? Because God's giving you time to get it right. As long as you're still alive, you have time to get it right. That means before you leave here. Why? You want to get it right. Even not doing your purpose and your assignment, that is a curse. That is, honey, that is disobedience. Because whatever gifts and talents, whatever God gave you, assignment and purpose, you're supposed to come and fulfill. That's a part of the be ye fruitful and multiply situation. You're supposed to be doing something here. Are you doing it? In whose kingdom are you doing it for? Are you using your gifts and talents that God gave you for the kingdom of Satan, Lucifer, the devil, and his systems? Or are you using it for God? Which one are you using it for? And when I say God, I'm not talking about them deities, and I'm not talking about no Illuminati. I'm talking about Jesus Christ and the one and only, the I am, the one and only creator. Yeshua, Yahweh, Jehovah, whatever you want to, Jesus, not Allah, because it's not that. It's not none of that. Pay attention. But I love you guys. Be blessed. I hope this message is going to wake you up. We're going to get into 28, hopefully tomorrow. I'm hoping I can get it read and done and researched and everything, and then we'll see how that goes. But anyway, until then, be blessed. We are bruised and not broken. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I do have my little cash app in there. If you want to be a blessing to me and my channel, it will be a blessing to me. If God is my provider, so it is what it is. I know He is my source. I do not depend on man for anything, because I know that they are fickle. And they changeth, and God does not changeth on me. He does not. So love you. Be blessed. Bruised and not broken. I love you guys. Until the next one. Later. Be blessed. Amen.